What's up guys, Tim here from Audio Tutor. Today we're talking about virtual instruments, and especially we're talking about strings or synthesized strings or pads or those instruments that sit as an extra layer in our mix. This is part 2 of this little mini series. We're working our way through the entire processing chain of these cinema strings that you can see here on the screen. So far in part 1 we talked about saturation, and we talked about tape saturation and emulation saturation, if you want to call it that. Basically getting some of that analog juice. So let's listen to how these cinema strings are sounding at the moment. Alright, so it's sounding pretty cool. We definitely got some good saturation going on, making things sound a bit more realistic. But something you may have noticed, and I definitely have, is that these strings are sounding, it sort of sounds like there's a blanket over these strings. It sort of sounds like someone's put a blanket over the speakers or something. It's sort of muffled somehow. So we need to clean that up. And you may have guessed it, we need an EQ. Luckily, we have been using this red EQ for saturation, so we can continue to use this for a bit of EQing. This is a really good emulation of the red EQ. It's by Shattered Glass Audio. I don't get paid to tell you how cool this plugin is. It's just cool. I really liked it. It's absolutely free, I think. It was when I got it. And it's called the Code Red Shattered Glass Audio. There you go. Go and Google it. Anyway, we've been using this for saturation, but now let's look at EQing it to get a bit of that top end. Okay, so what did I do there? Well, essentially, I've done a high shelf, and a high shelf boost, and a low shelf cut. And I left the middle alone completely. Now, I was playing around with this high end, and I was sort of tweaking it bit by bit, and really, at maximum, it really seemed to bring out that nice, bright string sound, so I left it at 10. I'm not sure if that's a 10 dB gain or whether that's just 10 on the scale, but at maximum it sounded really cool, so I left it there. And then I was sort of noticing that the low end was kind of blowing the distortion out a bit, so I took some of the low end out to clean that up a bit. And then I took the input up a little bit as well to get us back to that sort of averaging at 0 on the VU. Alright, so I'm going to play it one more time. I'm going to take this red EQ out and then put it back in, and then take it out, put it back in, so we can see the difference we're making. Alright, so quite a big difference there. We are adding a lot of that high-end crispiness that we want in that string sound, so that's pretty cool. The next thing we want to look at in the EQ process is we need to carve out a space for these strings in the mix. The strings, even though they're in the background, they still need a space within the frequency spectrum to sit. So what I've got here is a stock EQ from Logic. These things are really nice and they're easy to use because you can see what you're doing, and they're very nice and they look nice and they sound nice, and that's great. And they've even got a little analyzer on them. Isn't that tasty? Right. So you can see that I'm cutting off a lot of the low end there, and I'm boosting a lot of the highs there, and I've got a little cut around, I think, 340, something like that. So in the mids there, taking out some of that muddiness. Let's have a listen with this EQ on as well. Alright, so we're really getting very bright with the strings, and that's fine. It's something that you'll find with a lot of virtual instruments is they need a lot of boosting in the top end because they tend to sit, for whatever reason, they tend to sit in the middle between sort of 200 and maybe 3 to 5k. They just sit in this middle section, and so you're going to need to boost a lot of the top end to get some of that air back, some of that the air that you would have from a real recording. So what have I got here? I've rolled off a lot at 106 hertz. I've rolled off pretty sharply there, taken out a lot of that low end stuff, and that's because we don't need it in the low end. We have a kick drum in the low end and a big heavy dubstep bass in the low end. The purpose of this instrument is to fill out a lot of the mids and highs. So as a last thing, what I'm going to do is take out both of those EQs and put them back in, and take them out and put them back in, so we can hear how we're doing with this sound with these cinema strings. Alright, obviously it's a massive difference there that we're making, and that's going to be awesome in the mix. If you are interested in learning about recording and mixing and you want to get started, maybe you're an awesome singer or musician, or just interested in audio, you want to start producing for people or something like that, and you're interested in learning about it, and you need to get your equipment together but you don't know what that equipment is, well, maybe you're looking for a guide, and good news is I have one for you, 25 pages long, and it's absolutely free. It's a free download from me to you, and essentially it is a whole list of all the equipment you're going to need to get started recording and mixing, and it's all affordable. All the equipment recommendations are for affordable equipment. We're not breaking the bank here. We've even got in the back pages, we've even got a chart that's going to help you to keep track of your spending, so you're not breaking the bank. My goal here is to teach you how to record and mix with any equipment, no matter how expensive or how affordable it is. So the goal here is to learn your craft and get really good at it with the equipment that you can afford. So check it out. Go over to facebook.com/audio tutor. There's a link over there that will take you to a landing page. You type in your email address and download the ebook. The ebook is absolutely free, as I said. There'll also be a link in the video description as well. So go and check it out and check out the other videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. Please share with your friends. If someone is interested in audio or recording or mixing or whatever it is, or they're a singer looking to start recording their own stuff, share it with them. Tell them about these videos so that they can just start learning. I'll see you on the next video. We'll be coming up with part 3 in this mini-series, working through the complete processing chain of these cinema strings. All right, for now, my name's Tim from Audio Tutor. Ciao.